just going to start to kind of roll up and down our thigh. And just kind of start nice and slow. Okay, if you're using a roller, it might be a little bit easier. If you are using a lacrosse ball or your baseball, it's going to be a little bit smaller, and you're going to kind of get into smaller spots, but you're just kind of rolling up and down that muscle, sort of finding those tight spots. Just going to sort of roll back and forth for about 30 seconds. You can sort of go on the inside of your leg or right down the middle or the outside, depending what is kind of the most tight spot for you. I'm just going to adjust this here. Okay. Then we're going to get into our other leg. So let's switch onto our left side again. Just sort of rolling right up and down that quad. Sort of just make sure we're breathing as we're doing this. We don't want to hold our breath. Trying to relax as much as we can. Okay, awesome. So hopefully that's feeling pretty good. We're going to get into our glutes now. So this one's a bit of a tricky one. You're going to go on your right hip. So you're going to kind of sit with your right butt cheek right on that roller. Okay, and then we're going to sort of do a level 1, level 2, level 3. So if you're here, we're just going to kind of roll up and down on the back of that hip, right on that glute. And if you find that that's good, and you're getting a little bit of a good roll there, we can stay there. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can cross that right leg over the top and then start to roll over that glute. That's going to be sort of our level 2. Okay, and if you need a level 3, we're going to sit a little bit taller and then try to roll with that glute while we're sitting nice and tall and that leg is crossed over. So I want you guys to sort of pick, what level is good for you. I'm going to go back to level 2. Just sort of rolling that right butt cheek here for about 30 seconds. If it's a little bit tight, you can uncross that leg, go back to level 1. We're going to switch to our left side. So I'm just going to flip around for the camera here. Okay, so getting into that left glute. Again, level 1, we're just sort of rolling with that leg straight. Just testing out how it's feeling. If that's easy and you want a little bit more of a challenge, we're going to cross that left leg over top of the right. And again, make sure we're sort of breathing here, guys. We want to relax as much as we can. I know this isn't always the most comfortable, but it will feel great at the end. Good. Again, level 3. If that's too easy, we're going to sit up nice and tall as we roll right over that left glute. Good. Awesome. How are we doing, guys? Give me a thumbs up if we're good. Okay. Awesome. Okay. We're going to get rid of our roller. We're going to get into some mobility stuff. So I want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit more about the difference between flexibility and mobility. So with flexibility, right, if I were doing a stretch, let's say I'm kind of touching my toes here. So kind of one of the common stretches, I want you guys to join me here, is we're going to tuck our right leg in. My left leg's going to be straight, right? This is one of our good hamstring stretches where we're just kind of reaching forward and just trying to hold a good stretch here where we feel it through the back of the legs. Okay, this is a good stretch to do when you're, super tight or you're sore near the back of the legs. Okay, so the difference between sort of flexibility and mobility is our ability to move in and out of a stretched position. So, we're here. If I want to get more mobilization out of it, all I'm going to do is start to move in and out. So I'm sitting nice and tall, and then I'm reaching, trying to get as far as I can, and then coming straight back out. Okay. So I want you guys to just join me here, using that mobility from our hips. Reach forward, and we're slowly starting to get a little bit deeper and deeper into that stretch. Make sure we're breathing with that as well. You should feel your body kind of loosening up as we get deeper into that stretch. We're going to go one more time here. Good. Okay, switch legs. We're gonna start with our static stretch. So again, sitting nice and tall, my left leg is tucked in. I want you just to kind of lean forward, crawl those fingers towards your toes. Now you don't have to get all the way. If you find you've got pressure in your knee, just bend that knee a little bit. Maybe you're reaching just a little bit past that knee. Okay, if you can crawl those fingers a little bit more, we're gonna find that stretch. And we're gonna add some mobility work. Okay, so here we wanna kind of push ourselves nice and tall by pushing our heel into the floor. Forward, exhale, and push ourselves nice and tall. Just wanna make sure, okay, hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit better there. I'm just gonna plug this in. Okay, couple more here, guys. We're reaching forward, keeping that back nice and straight as we're reaching and exhaling. Good. Okay, nice job, guys. We're gonna come into what's called a 90-90 position. So this one might be new for some of you, might be, some of you may have done this one before. But what I want you guys to do is we're gonna come into this 90-90 position where my front knee and my front ankle are sort of at a 90-degree angle. We don't wanna be too tucked in like that. We also don't wanna be in the splits either. So we wanna sort of find that middle ground here. Okay, now I've got my hand on the floor. I'm sitting nice and tall. My posture's good. And now what I want to try to do is I want to sit up as tall as my body's going to let me. Okay, if I find that I can't quite sit up, maybe we stay here, or maybe you're down on your elbow here if that feels good for you. And we just want to sort of settle into our 90-90 stretch here. Okay, we're going to take a couple deep breaths, so filling our belly with air. Big exhale. Try to relax into that stretch. Okay, I'm going to come up onto my hand here. Nice and tall. Good. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to kind of turn our chest so that we're facing that front knee. Okay, the key here is keeping that proud chest as we start to bend forward at the hips so that back is nice and straight. Sort of trying to pull my belly button towards my knee until I feel a good stretch into my glutes, hamstrings, my hips. Okay, we want to sort of find that breath here. When we're doing sort of mobility stuff, we want to be able to relax into it. And then maybe on your exhales, as you feel your body kind of relaxing, you're folding forward a little bit more. Reaching those fingers forward. What we want to do here is we want to do that same sort of mobilization we did with our other one. So we're going to lift our hands off the floor and we're going to gently push our knee into the floor to get ourselves nice and tall. Okay, let's try that again. So we're going to bring our hands back. We're going to crawl our fingertips forward. Okay, if that's too tough, you can just go maybe fingerprints or fingers on the floor to push yourself up through the floor. Nice and tall here. Okay, a couple more. Crawl those fingers forward. Find that stretch as far as you're comfortable. Lift. Exhale as we sort of hinge a little bit taller. Last one here, guys. As far as you're feeling comfortable to go, find that stretch. Lift those hands. We're going to lift up as high as we can. Okay, awesome, guys. So we're going to go same position that we started in here. Hips should be feeling a little bit better. I'm going to bring my hands behind me to kind of start. So what we want to start to do is we want to start to lift that back knee up and down. So we want to sort of find that hip mobility. Okay, but the key here is not letting this one pop off the floor. We want to press down hard into the floor, brace ourselves here. Okay, this is level 1. So if you're feeling good, you're feeling like your hip is moving nice and well, what I want you to try doing is sitting up with your hands on that front knee, and you'll notice it's a little bit harder here. Okay, this is our level 2. Just sort of going in and out. If you find like that's really easy, we can go hands together, sitting nice and tall. This is our level 3. So I want you to pick, we're either here. Okay, if that's too easy, we're here. And if that's too easy, we're here. Okay, my hips are feeling okay today, so I'm gonna stay in this level 3. What we wanna do is start to open up that hip a little bit more each time. Sort of feeling like we're pulling that knee back as far as we can with control. Okay, looking good, guys. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hold it at the top now. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my hands down to my knee or my hands down to the floor, wherever you're feeling. We're gonna lift that knee up, and I want you to lift as high as you can and hold for 10, 9, 8. Make sure we breathe here. 7, 6, 5. Keep pulling that knee back for 3, 2, 1. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna shift our weight right onto our butt, and then we're gonna rotate to the other side. So I'm gonna turn so you can kind of see me a little bit better here. Okay, we're back in that 90-90, but we're on that other side. So my left leg's forward, right leg's gonna be back. Okay, and just sort of make sure that we're not super tucked in, because a lot of times what we wanna do is tuck ourselves. We wanna sort of get those legs apart a little bit more, nice and tall. We're gonna turn our chest to that front knee. We're gonna start to bend forward, keeping that back nice and flat. Just sort of find a little bit of a stretch here. Make sure that we're breathing. So big breath in, sort of fill that belly with air, and then feel everything relax.
It's okay. It's okay.
Good. So you guys are probably noticing one side might be a little bit different than the other, which is completely normal, because my side, this is my tighter side. So on this side, I'm probably gonna have to keep my left hand on the floor in order to push myself up. So from here, okay, I wanna kind of lift my chest, push myself up nice and tall. I'm using my other arm as balance. Okay, if you're good and you don't need that balance, you don't need to have it there. We're coming forward into that stretch. Exhale, sort of push back. Just sort of going nice and easy through that stretch. You don't want to push too far. Just relaxing into that full range here. Nice, looking good, guys. Make sure we're staying nice and tall. We don't want to let ourselves round over that stretch. So chest is proud. I should even be kind of looking forward a little bit too as I come down. Good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out far under that head and sort of lean back a little bit as I start to open up that front leg. Okay, again, we sort of want to find that mobility. So here's my level 1. This is my level 2, and this will be my level 3. So I'm going to go to a level 1 to start here. Just start to lift that leg up and down a little bit more. Good. So I want you guys to keep going. I'm just going to switch the camera so I'm kind of seeing everyone. Good, that looks good, Adam. Okay, and just kind of relaxing, making sure that we're not holding our breath here. Make sure our face is relaxed. If you want to try level 2, okay, I'm pretty tight here, but still gonna try. Good. I'm actually gonna come back a little bit because that's not comfortable for me. Just slowly opening that hip up a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna get our hold going. So remember, we want to push down through that left leg into the floor. We're going to lift that right one. I'm trying to pull that knee back for 10, 9, 8. Make sure we're breathing here for 6, 5. Keep pulling it back for 4, 3, 2, 1. Both hands are going to come behind, and we're going to do windshield wipers. So all I'm doing is just kind of shifting my weight all the way back down. We're gonna go back and forth here nice and slow, and really trying to keep those feet as still as we can. Just sort of mobilizing those hips here. And if you find this is really hard to do, you just have to lean back a little bit more. And if you find it's too easy, then you just try to sit up a little bit taller. Sort of find that sweet spot for you where you're able to sort of challenge yourself a little bit. Maybe you're going with no hands. That's a little tougher. or maybe you're just going with one hand. Okay, we're just sort of going back and forth a little bit. Nice and smooth, nice and slow. Good. Okay. Awesome, guys. If you've got some water nearby, let's grab a quick sip of water. And we're gonna go into our next one. This is sort of one of my favorite stretches on the next one. So you sort of need something for your knees to go on just in case. So I've got just a pillow. I'm gonna kneel on that so my knees aren't too sore, okay? So I've got my right knee down, left leg's gonna be up, okay? And what I wanna do here is I'm trying to get a good stretch into that front of that back hip. So the way that we do that is we wanna tuck our tailbone. So we don't wanna let our bum stick up. We wanna kind of tuck our tailbone, squeeze our glutes, and then from here, staying nice and tall, I'm just gonna press forward, sort of find that stretch right down that front of that hip flexor here. And if it feels good, you can sort of rock back and forth. Or if you feel like you want to hold it a little bit, you can do that as well. What I'm going to challenge you guys to do, I'm going to lift this up. What I'm going to challenge you guys to do is keep your hands to the side so that we've got our balance kind of tested, seeing if we can stay in that position while we're stretching that hip flexor. Okay? Think about finding that balance. And if you can, we're going to reach up to the ceiling and your eyes are kind of looking up to the ceiling as you're pressing your hips forward. Find that breath, sort of relax into that stretch here. Good. Nice job, guys. Okay, we're going to come back here. So I've got my right leg down, my left leg is up. So my right arm, what I want to do is I want to reach up and I'm trying to reach over. You guys can see if I put it up. So right arm, I'm reaching over as if I'm trying to touch that wall to my left. We're getting a big stretch through the right side of the body, the ribs. Tailbone is tucked under. Couple deep breaths here. Good. Awesome. We're going to switch sides. So just left leg down, right leg up. I'm going to adjust my camera here. Okay. Same idea. What I want to do is tuck that tailbone in. And then I'm going to come forward, find a stretch into that. I'll go this way so you can see. Find a stretch into that left hip flexor. Okay. We don't want to let our tailbone pop up. So make sure we're really tucking it under, then pressing forward. Again, if you want, you can kind of challenge yourself, hands on your knee, or you can go hands to the side. Just sort of find your breath. You can rock forward and back, or if you find a good stretch, you can hold it at the end here. Nice job, guys. And when you found your balance, I want you to reach up to the ceiling, looking up and reaching. Good. Okay, now we're going side bend. So I'm reaching my left arm to the side. Go camera up. So we're going here, reaching over, getting a good stretch all down the ribs. Keep reaching for that wall. Good, nice job, guys. Let's come out of that one. Okay, we're gonna come into a sort of a seated position. So we're gonna do, this one's gonna be more of a static stretch. So sort of like a hold, okay? We wanna sort of get into our back, low back a little bit. Okay, so I want you to sort of get your feet as wide as you can. Maybe you sort of use your hands to help get those nice and wide. And then with your toes, I want you to pull your toes back to your kneecaps, and we're almost kind of like squeezing our knees, okay? Posture's nice and tall. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn our body to that right side. Gonna reach forward just until I find a good stretch into that hamstring here. Okay, so we wanna sort of get into that recovery mode. Deep breaths in, exhale. Maybe you come a little bit further on that exhale. Big breath in. Good, nice job, guys. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab that right hand and I'm gonna put my right arm sort of in the inseam of my leg, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach up and through as if I'm trying to grab my toe with that top arm. So I'm trying to reach, but every time I take a big breath in, every time I exhale, I'm turning as if I'm starting to look up to that ceiling. Okay, and we're gonna go with our breath for 5 deep inhales and exhales. Big breath in, exhale, I'm turning to the ceiling. You should feel a good stretch into that low back. Good, keep turning. Big breath in. Good, last one here. Good, we're gonna slowly make our way back up. Okay, nice and tall. Now we're gonna turn our body to that left and we're gonna do everything again. So reaching forward, keeping that back nice and straight, finding a good stretch here. Good, now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take that left arm, I'm gonna put it right on the inside of my leg. And then that right arm is gonna come up and I'm reaching over. And remember, we're breathing, so big belly breath in. On that exhale, I'm trying to turn my chest up to the ceiling a little bit. We're going 5 of those. Good. And I want you guys to sort of feel like every time you breathe in, your ribs are really expanding. And then exhale, relax and turn. Last 2 here. Good, last 1. Good, nice job, guys. So that low back should be feeling like it's a little bit better. We're gonna now kind of crawl those fingertips forward. Now what we don't wanna do is round our back. So we wanna keep our chest nice and proud. That logo, if you've got a logo on your shirt, you should be able to read that on your computer screen in front of you. And we're gonna slowly reach forward. Find a good stretch here into the legs, into the hamstrings, into the groin a little bit. And we're gonna go 5 breaths here. Big breath in. Maybe on the exhale, you crawl those fingers forward a bit, maybe an inch or so. Good, we're gonna get into some mobility movement here. So once we've come to the end of our range, when you're as far as you can go, you're gonna lift your hands up. You're gonna bring them behind your head. And then what I want you to do is press your feet down into the floor, and that's gonna help push yourself up to a tall position. Good, hands come back down. We're gonna crawl those fingertips as far forward as we can go. Once we're there, hands behind our head, push our heels down. Nice and tall. Good job, guys. Couple more of those. Okay, hopefully we're feeling like we're loosening up on every crawling forward a little more. Hands come behind our head. Press down through our feet. Good. Last one here. Crawl those fingers forward. As far as you can go, find that stretch and then bring those hands up behind the head. Push down through the heels. Good, nice and tall to finish. Okay, good job, guys. We're gonna keep ourselves in that stretch. We've sort of worked hard to get that mobility, so maybe we can get our feet a little bit wider. Not much, just an inch or so. Okay, we're gonna bring our hands behind our head. What we're gonna do is a rotation. So I want you to think of your chest like you're turning your chest one way and your belly button's turning the other. So I'm turning my chest to the right and my belly button stays forward as I turn. Good. Back to the beginning. Big inhale. Exhale as I turn to the left. Good. And we want to sort of keep that chin tucked under. A lot of times our head kind of chin pops up. We want to keep that chin tucked under. Big breath in. We're going to turn to the right again here. So Exhale and then turn. I want you to think of pulling that right elbow behind. Good. Back to the beginning. Last one to the left. Big breath in. Exhale and turn to the left. I want you to think of pulling that left elbow behind. Good. Back to the beginning. We can bring those hands down. And then very gently, I want you to bring your feet back in. Kind of flutter those knees a couple times. Let that stretch relax. We're going to come on to our hands and knees for this one. So the next one is called cat camel. You guys probably have done this one before. So we get into some spine mobility. Okay, so a couple things that are important here is you want your, bring this up a little higher. You want your knees to be right under your hips, okay? So if you kind of draw a straight line up, your knees are under your hips. And then a lot of times people have their hands too far forward. We want our hands right under our shoulders. So if you can sort of see yourself in the camera, make sure that everything is sort of stacked. Okay, and what we're gonna start doing is we're gonna start arching our back into sort of a cat. Okay, so I'm gonna tuck my tailbone and start to push my back up to the ceiling. Tuck my chin, so I'm getting a good stretch into that back. Good, make sure we're breathing here. I'm gonna untuck my tailbone and I'm gonna lift my ribs up to the sky like I'm a camel. Good, we're gonna go back and forth there with your breath. So every inhale, we're sort of tucking our chin, tucking our tailbone, pressing our back up to the sky. And then on my exhale, I'm reversing that. So tailbone untucks. Sort of look up. And I want to pull my shoulder blades down my back. Find a good extension here. Okay, reverse that again. We're going to tuck that tailbone. Breathing in. Exhale. Good, reverse that. Breathing in into the cat. Round that back as round as you can make it, and then exhale. Good. Okay, if that felt good, that's our level 1. If you want to try level 2, what we're going to do is we're going to sort of sit back as if we're sort of sitting onto our heels, and my hands are going to come close to my knees. Now we're going to do that same thing. So I'm going to push down and round my upper back as I tuck my chin, and then I'm going to exhale. And try to look up as high as I can. I'm trying to pull my chest forward. Good. Big inhale here. Push that back up to the sky. Good. Nice job here. Moving with our breath. I'm just going to change the camera here. Yeah. Good, Brett. That looks good. Just keep moving with that breath. So big breath in as I round. Big exhale as I push. Good. Let's do 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Last one. Inhale. Round that back. Exhale. Pull that chest forward, looking up to the ceiling as much as you can. Good. Let's relax there. Okay. If you guys have done any yoga before, you're going to recognize this next one as well. We're going to go into downward dog. Okay. We're going to get a little bit of a stretch sort of through our back of our legs, that posterior chain. So what we're going to do is we're going to start ourselves in that neutral position. So we've done our cat, right? We've done our camel. And what I want you to do is find the middle of that. So I want you to sort of find that middle where your back is nice and flat. Okay, we're going to tuck those toes underneath. And what I want you to do is you're going to press your hips up to the ceiling and you're going to pull your forehead to your toes. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. I know my mic. So you want to push your hips up to the ceiling and then you're trying to pull your forehead towards your toes. And I want you to sort of find a good stretch here. Okay. We're just going to pump those heels sort of up and down a little bit. Find a good stretch into the back of the legs. And just sort of move around a little bit in this stretch here. Okay, again, make sure that we're not holding our breath, right? We're breathing nice deep inhales and exhales. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my left foot up to the ceiling, and then I'm going to bring it in front, and I'm just going to kind of bring it down. I'll move back so you can see me. We're coming into our pigeon stretch. So my right leg is as long as it can be behind me. Left foot or left knee is here. And what I want you guys to do is sort of find a position. So if you're here and you're getting a good stretch into that hip, that's where you're going to sort of stay. But if you find like you can come down on your forearms, okay, keeping that back nice and straight. I'm going to turn here so you guys can see me. Okay, we're just going to hang out here for about 5 to 6 breaths. So big inhales, big exhales. I want you just to relax into your hips. Good. Good, nice job, guys. We're gonna come back into downward dog. So really slowly, we're gonna come back to the quadruped here with our hands and knees, and then I'm gonna press back up. Pump those heels up and down, bend those knees a few times. Good, now I'm gonna lift my right leg nice and high behind me, and I'm bringing it through, and my foot comes off to the side. And then again, we're sort of in that pigeon stretch here. So nice and tall, back is nice and straight. If you can come down on your forearms. I'm just gonna stay here. I've got a pretty good stretch here and I wanna find my breath. Big inhales, exhale. Trying to relax as much as I can here. Good. One more big breath in. Exhale. Excellent. Good job, guys. Okay, let's shake those legs out. Okay, what I want to do is I want to come back to our 90-90. So now we're going to sort of do a retest and see. We should feel like we're a little bit looser than we were when we started. So let's start with that right one forward. Okay, again, make sure you've got your angles, right? So 90 degrees here. We don't want to be too crunched in. We want to sort of be nice and spaced out here. Okay, sitting nice and tall. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our hands behind and we're going to see if we can go right into those windshield wipers. So I'm going to bring myself here. My knees come up and my feet are sort of staying in that same spot. We're just going to go back and forth. Remember, we're sort of breathing with it, and my hips should feel quite a bit looser than when we started here. Nice job, really good. Okay, again, if you want to challenge yourself, sort of this is our level 1. Okay, if that's too easy, what I want you to try is keeping those hands off of the floor. That's quite challenging. I'm going to go with one hand. Sort of go one hand and then switch. That's sort of our level 2. One hand and then switch. And again, if you want to try no hands and just going back and forth. It's definitely a little bit challenging. I'm going to go back to hands behind. Good. Nice job, guys. Okay, so we've got about 8 minutes left here. So let's grab a quick sip of water if you need it. We're gonna get into our shoulders just so that we can get our upper body feeling good as well. So I'm gonna do this one on the floor. So what we wanna do is we wanna kind of start laying on our stomach. Okay, hopefully you can see me up. So my left arm is gonna be as long as I can go. I'm gonna show you on my other side. So my right arm is as far as I can go. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to turn my body a little bit so that I feel a good stretch into my chest. Okay, and it's just a little turn. You don't want to go too far. Okay, just sort of finding that breath. Big inhales, big exhales. Good. We don't want any pain in the shoulder at all here. We just want to feel sort of a gentle stretch across the chest. Good. If you find like you want a little bit more of a roll, you can start to roll a little bit more. If you're good there with no pain, just stay there for a few more breaths. Good. Let's go 2 more big inhales. Maybe we roll a little bit more. Good. And then we relax. We're just going to come right back down. Okay. Let's switch sides. I'm going to sort of roll over here so you can sort of see. I'm going to go to a different angle. Okay. So now I've got my left arm as far as I can reach. I'm just going to slowly start to roll myself so I get a good stretch into that chest. Okay, nothing in the shoulder. There should be no elbow pain. If there is, you're just going a little too far. Just kind of roll back a little bit less. Good, and we want to find that breath. Good stretch into that shoulder. Good, couple more breaths here, guys. Good, we're gonna roll back down. Okay, let's come up into our seated position here. We're gonna finish with some rotations here. Okay, so a couple options. If you wanna go cross-legged, just sort of wherever you're comfortable. If you're comfortable cross-legged, you can stay there. Or if you're more comfortable in this stretch where we were before, you can go there. I'm gonna go cross-legged because I'm a little bit sore today. So what we wanna do is we wanna start to get those turns a little bit further. So we wanna sit nice and tall, but we don't wanna let ourselves lean back, right? We want our stomach to be nice and tight, our core is engaged. We're gonna go hands. What we can do is just give yourself a big hug. And then I want you to take that big breath in, nice and tall on that exhale. I'm gonna turn my body to the right. And we're sort of looking over that right shoulder. Run out of air, we come back to the beginning. Okay, so we're moving with our breath. Big breath in. Exhale, turn to the left. We're sort of pulling our chin to our shoulder. Sort of starting to look behind us. Good. Okay, if that was good, you can stay there. If you want to try the next level, we can go hands in front here. Kind of cross those arms. We want to make sure we're not shrugging. So you really want to pull those shoulder blades down your back. Big breath in. And everything turns. Rotating to the right. Good. Okay. Rotating to the left. Big breath in. Sort of turning. Pull that left arm behind us. Good. That's our level 2. So level 1. We were sort of here. Level 2, we're here. If you want to try level 3, we're going to bring those hands behind our head. Okay. Now the key is not to pull your head. We actually want to push our head back into our hands. That's going to get our back of our neck nice and long. We're nice and tall. We're going to squeeze those elbows behind us. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, we're turning. Trying to pull that elbow behind us. Good. Run out of air, we come back to the beginning. So big breath in. Exhale, turn to the left. We're trying to pull that left elbow back. Good. We're going to go one more time. You can either go level 3, level 2, or level 1, wherever you felt the best at. Okay, big breath in. Exhale and turn. You should feel like we're turning a little bit more now than we started. It's looking good, guys. Last one to the left. Big breath in. Exhale to the left. Good. Awesome. Shake those shoulders out. Shake those arms out. Last stretch we're going to do is that side bend. So we're sitting nice and tall. Okay. I'm going to bring my left arm up as high as I can. I'm going to slowly start to reach towards that right. I want to get a good stretch through the ribs, kind of like what we did before. And now what I want you to think about is pulling those knees down to the floor like you're trying to pull them to touch. We're gonna get 3 big inhales here. So big inhale, feel the ribs expand. Exhale. Good, 2 more just like that. Big inhale. And reach. Good, keep reaching guys. Last one, big inhale. Big exhale. Good, we're gonna get nice and tall. Awesome, we're gonna go last one on the right. So reach up nice and high. We wanna stretch those ribs, so we're slowly bending over to the side. Big breath in for 3 breaths here. Good, 2 more, bigger inhale. Bigger exhale as you reach further. Good, big inhale for the last one. Good, sit nice and tall. Awesome, guys. Well, hopefully you guys are feeling a little bit looser, a little bit more stretched out. We had a little bit of recovery today. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. We're going to do a little bit of a different mobility. So hope you guys